Good morning. I'm hosting Coffee with Bob today, and this morning I want to talk about tomorrow because tomorrow is Juneteenth, June 19th, and it marks the occasion dating back to 1865 when Major General Gordon Granger announced to the people of Texas General Order Number 3. And this is what he read to them. The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. Now, the Executive of the United States was President Abraham Lincoln, and the proclamation, which he is referring to, was the Emancipation Proclamation, which had been issued approximately 2.5 years earlier. In fact, when he read this General Order Number 3, President Lincoln was already dead. He had been assassinated. Why did they need to issue this order after the Emancipation Proclamation had been issued? Well, it's hard to imagine because of our communication system today, where every news story, every communication with people can be almost instant. And if there's any kind of delay, we're aggravated by it. We want to know the very moment something happens. When we text someone, we expect them to text immediately back. We forget that, of course, it wasn't always like that. And so when the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, there was still fighting going on. And it would be some time before it would be ratified. It would be set into motion. You add into that the South would hold out as long as possible. Even earlier in the Civil War, Southerners saw that things weren't going their way, and so they started moving all their livelihood west. And many moved to Texas with all of their slaves. And so Texas was the last place that a need to abolish slavery still existed. When General Granger and the Union Army conquered what was the last remaining stronghold or last remaining defense put up by the Confederate Army, he issued this order. And it was a reminder. But this statement issued on June 19th, 1865, was when those remaining slaves heard that they were free. Now, in history, things aren't always instantaneous, and so they weren't all made free in that moment, but they heard that they were free. The order reads, "The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor." Now, this edict didn't wipe away racism or mistreatment or injustice, but it was another step forward, even just to hear those words, "All slaves are free," and it involves absolute equality. We're still working toward that line, that phrase, I think we would all agree that there are far too many incidents where we know there's not absolute equality, but we are called to pursue it. And one of the things that we can do is grieve the reasons necessary for an order to be issued on June 19th, 1865, when so many years and decades of slavery made it necessary to have to say that absolute equality was the goal. We grieve the past, and we celebrate what June 19th really tells us. It's the goal for all of us, that people are truly free, and absolute equality is our ideal. It's what we should be working toward, not just as a country, but as the children of God. To recognize that every single person, no matter their background, no matter their gender, their socioeconomic status, their love life, their skin color, their religion, every single person, all of humanity, has been created in the image of God and is loved by God. We should pursue the idea of absolute equality of people, to treat people as those who are loved by God. This world would be a lot different if everyone remembered that every person they ever encounter is someone important and loved and cherished by the creator of the universe. It would make for a far different world. It's why we're called to love our neighbors, no exceptions. I hope that tomorrow on Juneteenth, that you would find ways to set aside a time of prayer, to pray for the wisdom of how you can be a part of bringing about total equality, and how you can have a heart that loves all people as children of God. Celebrate the day. Have a great one today, and happy Juneteenth tomorrow.